You've heard of the Reign of Terror, but they never showed you how it ended. Maximilien Robespierre sits slumped, blood-soaked cloth wrapped around his shattered jaw. The bullet didn't kill him. It tore his mouth open so wide that splinters of bone fall out whenever he tries to speak. He's still alive, gagged, half-conscious, and bleeding in the very room where he once signed the deaths of 17,000 people. In the corridor, they pour wine and celebrate. You were told the terror ended clean. That is a lie. Robespierre's execution wasn't swift. It was surgical, and it began long before the blade ever touched his neck. But to understand how Robespierre got here, you have to go back to when he still had the crowd. Picture it. April 1793. The French Revolution has devoured its king, but the hunger isn't satisfied. The people want purity, justice, vengeance. And Robespierre, Maximilien the Incorruptible, believes he can give it to them. So he helps birth the Committee of Public Safety, a name so bland you'd think it planned fire drills. In truth, it will become the deadliest administrative body in Europe. They meet daily, and by 10, the lists are ready. Who lives, who dies, no delay, no appeal. You're not supposed to see how mechanical it became. A baker for overpricing bread, a priest for refusing an oath, a boy for shouting "Long live the king," names read at dawn. Carts roll by 11. A 45-minute parade through jeering crowds. At the Place de la Révolution, Sanson waits with his guillotine. The blade falls. Wicker baskets catch the heads. Quicklime pits swallow the rest. By dusk, Paris resets for another round. And here's the part they buried. This was just one city. Lyon, 1,880 executed. Cannons used to save time. Toulon, 282. Shot in batches. Nantes, so many that they ran out of wood and ropes. So they packed prisoners onto boats, sunk them in the Loire. Hundreds drowned, chained together, bodies bobbing for days. Locals begged the state to stop. The smell reached miles. Robespierre didn't hide the horror. He sanctified it. Terror, he said, is nothing other than prompt, severe, inflexible justice. Think about that. He didn't hide it. He moralized it. By June 1794, he pushes through the law of 22 prairial. Trials can last 15 minutes. No defense lawyers. Only two outcomes, acquittal or death. Why? Because if revolution is sacred, then doubt is heresy. This is where the line vanishes between justice and theology. Robespierre isn't leading a government anymore. He's conducting a mass. He believes every death purifies the republic, renews the body politic, and he wants them recorded. Every name, every final word. Marie Antoinette's calm, proof of cold aristocratic pride. Danton's begging? Evidence of corruption. You're starting to see it now, aren't you? Death wasn't a byproduct. It was a doctrine. Every morning, he signs names like God checking souls off a ledger. Every night, Paris sleeps to the rhythm of the blade. But here's where it gets worse. The more they killed, the more impure the Republic felt. The guillotine didn't cleanse it, it poisoned it. And Robespierre? He thinks the answer is more virtue, more cleansing, more death. You weren't supposed to know this part. The terror was never chaos. It was order, calculated, optimized, until the lists grow too long. And for the first time, he starts writing names that sound familiar, and someone realizes he's going to purify them all. Next, the doctrine unravels. The blade was busy, but Robespierre was restless. By early 1794, he sleeps 3 hours a night, paces until dawn, stares through people. That twitch in his left eyelid, it never stops. He's supposed to be running a government, but he starts showing up only for ceremonies. Speeches turn into sermons. The man who once silenced rooms with logic now fills them with monologues no one understands. And what he writes? It's worse. Page after page, the Republic of Virtue will triumph. Over and over, ink gouged deep. margins scrawled with half sentences, names, accusations, some crossed out, some circled. One aide said it looked less like policy and more like scripture written during a fever. But who would stop him? He was still the incorruptible. He brings a loaded pistol to meetings, sets it on the table next to his notes, speaks slowly, precisely, like someone dictating prophecy. Even his allies, Saint-Just, Couthon, begin watching him like a man walking a tightrope over a pit he helped dig. You're not supposed to see this part. The fragility behind the fanatic. At the festival of the Supreme Being, his creation, by the way, he appears in Roman garb. Yes, Roman. Blue silk, white plume, gold-trimmed vest, climbing an artificial mountain built in the middle of Paris. Musicians play, children sing, but the people whisper. Is he founding a religion? The crowd doesn't chant, it watches, and Robespierre sees it, feels it. Think about that. He stages a festival to unify the Republic, and all it does is prove how far he's drifted from it. He retreats even further, starts naming enemies faster than they can react. Desmoulins, dead. Danton, dead. Both close allies, now corrupt. He doesn't hesitate. If they disagree, they must be impure, and if they're impure, they must be removed. Because that's the doctrine now. Virtue or death. No middle. He's not leading a republic. He's purging it. And here's what they don't teach. His paranoia isn't abstract. It's administrative. He stops trusting the committee, keeps names to himself, draws up new lists without sharing, writes speeches where he accuses unnamed traitors, then refuses to name them. The convention freezes. Every deputy wonders, am I on it? You can feel the panic crawl down their spines. Picture sitting in that hall, unsure whether standing to applaud will save you or mark you next. The lists grow, but so does the silence. He thinks he's tightening the revolution. In truth, he's choking it. There's a wordless moment in June when someone realizes he's circling. And no one is above suspicion now, not even the men holding the pen next to him. That's when the Committee of Public Safety, his own creation, begins to whisper. Because it's not just fear anymore. It's math. If Robespierre accuses, the process is automatic. No trial, no defense. And too many have heard him mutter names they recognize. So, a plan begins. 3 men meet in secret. Joseph Fouché, Paul Barras, and Jean-Lambert Tallien. Barras's apartment. Closed windows, lowered voices. They don't plot his assassination. They plot something more dangerous, his interruption. If they can denounce him first, outshout him before he names them, they might live. One shot. Not from a gun, from a speech. But Robespierre, he's already rehearsing his, and he still believes the people are with him. He's wrong. Picture this. July 27th, 1794. Robespierre walks into the convention in his powder blue coat, still convinced that words will save him. He doesn't know it's already over. No applause, just murmurs, then shouts, "Down with the tyrant! You are the enemy of the people!" He opens his mouth. The room swallows him. For once, rhetoric fails. This isn't a debate. It's a purge. The president of the convention turns his back. Guards move in. Robespierre looks around for allies. He finds none. You weren't supposed to see this part, where the master of the list becomes the name on it. Within hours, he's declared an outlaw. His signature weapon now bypasses him, and here's where it starts to spiral. The prisons won't take him. One by one, wardens slam their doors. Luxembourg says no. The conciergerie says no. Even the Hôtel de Ville hesitates. The man who made fear a currency is suddenly too expensive to hold. So he ends up in a side chamber of the hotel, surrounded by loyalists and bloodied ghosts. He tries to write one last speech. His final call to the people. The ink trembles. The handwriting slants. Outside, the streets are quiet. No uprising comes. Paris stays home. Even the sans-culottes, the ones he claimed to speak for, look away. National Guardsmen storm the building. Someone yells. The scene fractures. A gunshot rings out. One account says Robespierre pulled the trigger himself. Another says a gendarme did it. Doesn't matter. The result is the same. The bullet enters through the mouth and exits through the left cheek, shattering his jaw like glass. Surgeon Pierre-François Percy later describes teeth, fragments, soft tissue, gone. He doesn't die. Not yet. Just blood, pain, and silence. The prisons won't take him. One by one, wardens slam their doors. Luxembourg says no. The conciergerie says no. Even the Hôtel de Ville hesitates. You're not supposed to picture it, but you should. The man who collected final words like scripture suddenly has none of his own. They load him onto a stretcher, carry him through streets still wet from the night's rain, and deliver him to the very committee chamber where he once signed the orders. He's placed in the chair he made famous, beneath the same window that caught the morning light on days when death was just a paper. He can't speak, he can't explain. Even pain has dulled. Only the silence remains. And the others? They celebrate in the next room. A toast, a laugh, a song. Every sound is a knife. For 14 hours, he sits, gagged, shattered, and shrinking. And here's what they buried. This silence wasn't a pause. It was the point. For the first time, he experiences exactly what he orchestrated. The waiting, the helplessness, the ritual of death, stretched and sharpened. The Republic of Virtue had no room for mercy. And now, neither does Paris. Outside, the crowd is gathering. They've heard what's coming. But the worst part, he still thinks someone will come. Someone will shout for justice. But no one does. Only the cart. And it's already half full. They roll him out late in the afternoon, July 28, 1794. The cart groans under the weight of 22 condemned. Robespierre slumps in the middle, filthy linen clinging to a shattered face. No morphine, just rags and rough twine. And still, people cheer. Paris has turned out for a spectacle. The blade has fed for over a year, but today, it eats its master. Vendors shout over each other, selling wine, fried meat, woodcut effigies. Children play mock executions. Prostitutes whisper secrets for coin. One woman lifts her child. That man killed your father. You weren't supposed to see this part. The revolution was meant to end in clarity. Instead, it ends in carnival. The procession stalls. Garbage flies. Manure hits a cart. People laugh. The route should take 45 minutes. It takes almost 2 hours. The closer they get to the Place de la Révolution, the more the mood changes. Mockery softens into ritual. Some hold portraits of the dead. Others clutch handfuls of dirt from old graves. The guillotine rises ahead like a cathedral altar. You're not looking at justice. You're looking at blood liturgy. Robespierre is hauled up second to last. His brother Augustin is ahead of him. The cloth is pulled. His jaw hangs limp, stitched with borrowed thread. It holds, barely. It holds just long enough. Then the assistant rips the bandage. What escapes is not a scream. It's an animal sound, cracked air and shattered throat. It rips through the square. Then silence, and one voice breaks it. That is the scream of all his victims. That impossible flip, where a monster's agony suddenly sounds like justice. The blade falls clean, the head rolls, and Paris erupts. No mourning, no pause. People dance, they drink. One man toasts with a bone cup supposedly carved from a traitor's femur. There's no proof, doesn't matter. They light torches, carry effigies through the alleys. Cannons fire from Montmartre, bells ring. Couriers ride out with the news. In Lyon, Nantes, Marseille, celebrations begin before the names are even read. You weren't supposed to remember it like this. But the truth is, it wasn't a tragedy. It was a purge. The revolution devoured its own architect and spat out a party. And the guillotine? It sleeps for the first time in months, but not for long, because what comes next is quieter, more polite. But the logic remains. The Republic no longer needs Robespierre to kill. It learned how to do it without him. There's no grave and no bones. Robespierre, who sent thousands to the blade, was dumped in quicklime at Erensis Cemetery. The city paved over it. Within days, the tribunal dissolved. The law of 22 Prairial vanished. The guillotine stopped. Paris reopened. Markets, churches, mouths. Children stopped informing. The silence that followed didn't come from victory. It came from his absence. Think about that. The terror didn't end with principle. It ended with a broken body and a machine finally full. He thought death could purify a republic. That each execution made the state stronger. But it didn't. It only made it hungrier. And when it turned on him, the world kept turning. No pause, no reckoning. Just life returning where fear had lived. He vanished without even a headstone. So ask yourself, if the architect left no trace, what did any of it build? Or was it all just fuel for a blade that never learned to stop? Now, if you want more truths they tried to bury, hit subscribe. This was only one name the records tried to forget.